Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're well. Now recently I bought another bike, this one, a Yamaha WR 400F. I bought it as a project. The idea being is I was going to fix everything that was wrong with the bike, put it through an MOT, ride it for a bit, and then sell the bike on and buy another project. However, after covering quite a few miles both on and off-road, that plan has gone slightly out the window, as I absolutely love it. It is a fantastic bike. However, I also have a CRF at home. Now the CRF is very similar to this, and I use it for the exact same thing. And I certainly can't justify keeping two bikes that I use for the exact same thing that are incredibly similar. So today, I am meeting up with my dad and going for a ride. He is riding his CRF 300L, which is near enough identical to mine. I'll be riding the WR. We'll switch bikes as the day goes on, and hopefully by the end of today I'll know which bike to keep and which bike to sell. And we're off. So we have just left Rudby. We're now heading over towards Stokesley, where we're going to grab some fuel. And then the plan for the day is to head over towards Rudland Rigg, across Rudland Rigg, and then after that I think we're just going to sit down and have a look at the Green Lane road map and see what we fancy doing, see what the time is, and go from there. I guess there's already two things to talk about so far. Firstly, the fuel economy. The WR, this bike, will do about 45 to 50 miles per gallon, where the CRF will do between 85 and 90 miles per gallon, which is obviously a huge difference. Does it bother me? Well, at the moment, no, it hasn't so far. The reason being is I'm not doing that many miles. The other thing to consider is this bike is a kickstart, where the CRF has an electric start. Again, so far, has that bothered me? No. If anything, I think I prefer the kickstart. It just gives the bike a bit more character, gives it a bit more of an old school feel, which I really like. Will it annoy me in the middle of winter when I can't kick it over and I've stalled it at the lights? Possibly, but for now I do prefer the kickstart. Certainly a very light bike, this. Very easy to move around off-road. Saying that, the CRF is too. If I was to compare the two though, I would say this is slightly lighter in terms of feel and specs on paper. Okay, so we're now about 6 miles in, and it's been like this most of the way, relatively easy going. And so far, I don't really think there's much in it. I haven't switched between the bikes yet, but I've done this section a fair few times on the CRF, and the two bikes perform in a very similar way. They're both very smooth, they're both very comfortable to be stood up. There's more than enough power to move at the speed I want to on both bikes. But there's no denying that extra power on this bike is a little bit more fun. So if I was to choose between the bikes and I was riding just this type of terrain all the time, flat gravel tracks or relatively flat gravel tracks, I'd probably choose the WR, but not by much. Yeah.
The back end is just following.
Right.
It's not doing this.
Oh, it's nice and smooth.
Oh,
Yeah.
Smooth.
I think between that bike and this bike on there's not really much in it.
No.
The only thing that maybe is a little bit more fun is you have got the ability to go a bit faster, a bit quicker, if that makes sense. But yeah, I wouldn't pick this over that for the vast majority of it. But that power thing pushes me towards this a bit more. Yeah.
The lightness.
Yeah, it's definitely lighter. Yeah.
Huge.
I'm hoping on the next section we'll feel that a little bit. But right. Oh, that exhaust sounds great. It's not Black Widow, but still sounds very good. I haven't got them on my bike. And on to the CRF. Now straight away there's quite a few things to note. Firstly, this bike is incredibly smooth in comparison to the WR. The seat is a little bit more comfortable. My legs do feel a little bit more kinked actually. And I'm not sure my hands are in a position which is as comfortable as the WR, but it's certainly a lot more smooth. The clutch is a lot easier to pull in. And the wing mirrors, oh, I've missed them. I honestly didn't think I'd miss them on the WR, but I'm definitely going to have to get a set if I decide to keep the WR. Okay, so riding on the road, I think there is a clear winner, and it's the CRF. Firstly, it has 6 gears instead of the 5 on the WR, so when you're sitting at higher speeds, 50, 60 miles an hour, it doesn't feel like it's trying anywhere near as hard as the WR, even though the WR does get there a bit faster. This bike is also a little bit smoother. The other thing is this bike has a battery, so if I was to have an issue and I couldn't start the bike, I still have a way of lighting myself up and being seen on the road, where on the WR the lights will only work if the bike is running. Now initially I didn't even think about this, but my dad mentioned it and I think it's a very good point, just having that bit more safety on the road. The CRF also has a full MOT, which I can ride the bike during the day and at night, where the WR only has a daytime MOT, so I'm not actually supposed to ride that bike when it's dark or at night. I can get round that, I can just fit some indicators to the bike, but as it stands, that's not the case. Oh, this bike definitely feels heavier. I think on paper it's about 20 kilos heavier, but quite often you can't feel the extra weight, but I definitely can between the WR and this bike. I did this section last week, and although it is a little bit more damp today, I was putting in nowhere near as much effort, even just on this first little bit. No, it's definitely a track. It's on the Green Lane road map. Well, that's thrown a bit of a spanner in the mix. Before I came out this morning, I was leaning slightly towards the CRF, but that was a lot harder on the CRF than it was on the WR last week. So it's a bit more even Stevens now than I thought it was going to be.
It'll just keep going.
I think it's bomber, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. There's two things with it. One, it's forgiving, but at the same time, it can probably give you a bit of bother.
With the power.
With the power.
Yeah.
It's just you getting used to it, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is once you start going up banks and one thing and another, you'll know where to give it a bit more and where.
Yeah, I think it's just getting used to the bike though, isn't it?
So it is lighter than that one.
It feels, I wouldn't say it was 20 kilos, I'd say it was more. It just feels...
No, it's just a lighter bike.
Yeah.
The weight is a bit lower down on itself, I don't know.
It goes up and then it curves along. Might be a bit wet today. Thank you. Try and go the hard way down here. Well, on technical sections, I think this bike takes the win. Mainly down to how nimble it feels and the weight. It's just that little bit lighter than the CRF, and it's quite noticeable when you're riding it. Okay, back on the road to what I think will be the final section of the day. Not quite sure how to get there. And I've got no signal, so the first thing we're going to do is go up the hill a little bit, get some signal, and then see where we're at. Oh, the one part of the map I need is not loading up. There we go. Aha, there we go. Oh.
Station House. Head northeast on
You got it.
then take the first right.
Right, okay. And that should come through on there. Cool.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's just a bit longer.
Yeah. Coast to coast, AW on the top, out with Wainwright.
Oh right, is that what that means? Yeah.
Power of the
We'll try and pick the harder line again. I've only done this section once before on the CRF, so I'm not really sure what it's like the whole way up. I can't really remember, to be honest. There is definitely a clear winner here, which bike I prefer on this kind of terrain. Okay, so we are back on the road and we are slowly working our way home. So which bike am I going to sell and which bike am I going to keep? Well, starting off with the CRF, it is a fantastic bike. It's great both on and off-road. It's practical, it's light, it's agile, it's very smooth, it's very good on fuel, and I don't need to do anything to it. I've owned mine for just over a year now, and everything I was going to do to it I've already done. In comparison, the WR is not as good on the road. It doesn't have indicators, it doesn't have wing mirrors, the lights aren't as good. It's also 26 years old, so it does need a fair bit of work doing to it, including a new chain and 2 new sprockets fairly shortly. I also need to sort the speedo out, as it doesn't work. However, it is that bit more agile off-road, it's lighter, it's more powerful, and in my eyes it's just a more fun bike to ride, and for that reason alone I've decided to keep the WR. Now, to be honest, I wasn't really expecting to say that. If you'd have asked me this morning, I was almost certain I would be keeping the CRF, but purely based on the fun factor, I will be keeping the WR. So if you're after a CRF, please let me know. Mine will be going up for sale over the next week or so. Please let me know if you think I've made the right or the wrong choice. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you soon.